You're listening to the Deep Dive Podcast. If you're enjoying this series, please consider liking and subscribing to stay in the know. Have you seen that latest video of Boston Dynamics Atlas robot?
I have.
It's mind-blowing.
Yeah.
This isn't just some fancy parkour routine anymore.
Right.
Atlas is doing actual work in a simulated factory setting, and it's all happening autonomously.
It really is a game changer. Imagine a robot that can work tirelessly handling tasks that are too dangerous or repetitive for humans.
Right.
That's the potential we're seeing with Atlas.
Yeah, it's incredible to see how Atlas has evolved from a parkour stunt bot to a potential factory worker.
So what exactly is Atlas doing in this simulated factory? I've heard it involves moving engine parts, which doesn't sound very glamorous.
It's not glamorous, but it's essential work in manufacturing.
Yeah. In the demo, Atlas is tasked with moving engine covers between storage containers and a mobile sequencing dolly. It might sound simple, but think about all the things Atlas needs to do correctly.
Right.
Identify the parts, navigate the workspace, pick them up without damaging them, and place them accurately on the dolly.
And get this, it's doing all of this without anyone controlling it.
Right.
It's not like someone is sitting there with a joystick. Atlas is figuring things out on its own.
That's what makes this demo so significant. Atlas is operating fully autonomously.
Wow.
It receives a set of instructions and then executes them without any human intervention. This sets it apart from robots like Tesla's Optimus, which still relied heavily on human control in their recent demonstrations.
But how does Atlas know what to do? How does it make sense of its surroundings?
Yeah.
And actually perform these tasks without bumping into things or dropping parts?
It's all thanks to a sophisticated combination of sensors and machine learning. Atlas uses vision sensors, which are essentially cameras, to see its environment. These cameras work with a machine learning vision model that allows Atlas to identify and locate objects, kind of like how you recognize a friend's face in a crowd. And it's not just about seeing. Atlas also uses force sensors to detect pressure and resistance. This is how it knows how tightly to grip an object and how to adjust its movements if it encounters any obstacles.
So it's like Atlas can feel what it's doing.
That's a great way to put it. And to top it off, Atlas has proprioceptive sensors. You know how you can close your eyes and still touch your nose?
Yeah.
That's proprioception, and it's what lets Atlas keep track of its body position and move smoothly, even in a cluttered environment.
Okay, that makes sense. It's like Atlas has all these senses working together to help it understand and interact with the world around it.
Precisely. And all of this sensory information is processed by Atlas's onboard computer, which uses machine learning algorithms to make decisions and execute tasks. It's like having a mini brain inside the robot.
That's incredible. But I'm curious, what about Atlas's physical capabilities? Has the hardware itself changed much since those earlier parkour videos where it was doing backflips and all that?
There have been some major upgrades, particularly in the move to an all-electric design. Remember those noisy hydraulic systems in the older Atlas versions?
Oh, yeah, I remember those.
Well, those are gone, which makes Atlas much quieter and more efficient.
It used to sound like a construction site whenever Atlas was moving around.
Exactly. Now it moves with a smooth, almost silent grace, which is much better suited for an industrial setting. Plus, the electric actuators give Atlas a greater range of motion and more precise control, which are essential for handling delicate tasks.
So it's not just about being strong and athletic anymore. It's about being agile, precise, and adaptable to different tasks.
Exactly. And that adaptability is key. Think about it. A factory environment is constantly changing.
Right.
Parts might be in slightly different positions, new obstacles might appear, and things don't always go according to plan. Atlas needs to be able to adjust on the fly.
It sounds like Atlas has come a long way. But there's one detail in the demo that really caught my attention, and it kind of creeped me out, to be honest. There's a part where Atlas twists its torso 180 degrees to grab a part, and it just looks unnatural.
I know what you mean.
It's efficient, but also kind of unsettling.
It highlights the uncanny valley effect in robotics. When robots move in ways that are too human-like but not quite perfect, it can be unsettling.
Yeah,
Atlas is designed for efficiency, not to mimic human movements exactly.
I guess that makes sense.
Yeah.
But even though it looks strange, it's clearly effective. And speaking of efficiency, did you catch that detail about Atlas's gripper? Apparently it can function as an opposable thumb.
Yes, it's a small detail, but it makes a big difference. That opposable thumb-like function gives Atlas incredible versatility in handling objects.
Hold on, it has an opposable thumb. That's just showing off.
Well, it's more about practicality than showing off. This design allows Atlas to perform a wider range of tasks and adapt to different situations. And it gets even more interesting. Atlas's hands can actually be swapped out entirely for different tools or grippers, depending on the job.
Wow, that's really impressive.
Hmm.
It sounds like Atlas is becoming more like a modular platform, kind of like a Swiss Army knife of robots.
That's a great analogy, and it speaks to the broader trend in robotics towards modularity and adaptability. The future of robotics isn't about building specialized robots for every single task. It's
Wow.
about creating robots that can learn, adapt, and be reconfigured for a variety of applications.
This is also fascinating, but it also raises some big questions. If robots like Atlas are becoming this capable and adaptable, what does that mean for the future of work? Will robots like Atlas be working alongside humans, or will they eventually replace human workers altogether?
That's the billion-dollar question, isn't it? And it's one that we'll need to explore further as we delve deeper into the implications of these advancements.
Okay, well, let's take a moment to let all of this sink in. We've covered a lot of ground already, from Atlas's incredible new capabilities to the broader implications for the future of work.
We have. But this is just the beginning of our deep dive. There's still much more to uncover about Atlas, its potential, and the exciting world of robotics that's rapidly unfolding before our eyes. You know, it's amazing to think that just a few years ago, Atlas was primarily a research project showcasing what was possible in robotics. Now it's on the verge of becoming a real-world solution for businesses like Hyundai, which is now Boston Dynamics' parent company.
Yeah, it makes you wonder, what's Hyundai's vision for Atlas? Do they see it replacing human workers on the assembly line?
It's not necessarily about replacing humans, but more about collaboration. Imagine Atlas handling the heavy lifting, the repetitive tasks, or the jobs that are hazardous for humans, like working with dangerous chemicals or in extreme temperatures.
Yeah,
This would free up human workers to focus on tasks that require creativity, problem solving, and human interaction.
that makes sense. It's not about robots versus humans. It's about robots and humans working together to get things done more efficiently and safely.
Exactly. And this collaboration could lead to new types of jobs we haven't even thought of yet. Someone will need to design, program, maintain, and even train these robots.
It's like a whole new industry is emerging right before our eyes. But let's shift gears a bit and talk about the bigger picture. We've been focusing on Atlas, but it's just one example of the incredible advancements happening in robotics and AI globally.
You're absolutely right. Remember we talked about the World Voice Expo in China? It was a showcase of cutting-edge AI and robotics technology from all over the world. There were robots serving coffee, robots designed to work in warehouses, and even robots that looked eerily human-like.
It sounds like science fiction is becoming reality. What were some of the highlights that really stood out to you?
One that caught my eye was a robot from a company called Unitree Robotics. They had this humanoid robot called the Unitree H1, and it was incredibly agile and lifelike in its movements. They've already sold over 100 of these robots, which shows there's a real demand for this kind of technology.
Wow, that's impressive. So it's not just about research anymore.
Right.
These robots are actually being used in the real world.
And the applications are expanding rapidly. We saw robots designed for everything from healthcare and education to security and entertainment. The possibilities seem endless.
It's both exciting and a bit daunting to think about all the ways AI and robotics will change our lives in the coming years.
It is. And that's why it's so important to have these conversations now. We need to understand the potential benefits and risks of these technologies and to think critically about how we want to integrate them into our society.
You're right. We can't just sit back and let technology shape our future. We need to be active participants in shaping a future where AI and robotics are used ethically and for the benefit of all.
I couldn't agree more. And one of the key things we need to focus on is education. We need to ensure that everyone has access to the knowledge and skills they need to thrive in a world where AI and robotics are increasingly prevalent.
That makes a lot of sense. We need to prepare the next generation for the jobs of the future and to help them understand the ethical and societal implications of these powerful technologies. But what about people who are already in the workforce? How can they adapt to these changes?
That's a crucial question. We need to invest in retraining and reskilling programs to help people transition into new roles that are less likely to be automated. And we need to create opportunities for lifelong learning so that people can continue to develop their skills throughout their careers.
So it's not just about teaching kids how to code. It's about fostering a culture of continuous learning and adaptation.
Exactly. We need to embrace the idea that learning is a lifelong journey and that we all need to be constantly evolving and adapting to keep pace with the changing world around us.
I think that's a powerful message to end on. We've covered a lot of ground today, from the amazing advancements of Boston Dynamics Atlas to the broader implications of AI and robotics for the future of work and society as a whole.
It's been a fascinating exploration, and I hope our listeners are feeling as inspired and informed as I am. This is a truly transformative time, and it's up to all of us to shape a future where technology empowers us rather than defines us.
Well said.
It's been a pleasure exploring these topics with you, and as we wrap up, I want to leave our listeners with a sense of optimism. While there are certainly challenges ahead, AI and robotics also have the potential to solve some of the world's most pressing problems. We can use these technologies to improve healthcare, reduce poverty, combat climate change, and create a more sustainable future for all.
That's a hopeful message. It reminds us that the future is not predetermined. It's something we're creating together. And by engaging in thoughtful conversations and making informed choices, we can harness the power of AI and robotics to build a better world.
Well said. And on that note, I think it's time to bring this deep dive to a close.
Thanks for joining us on The Deep Dive. We'll see you next time for another journey into the most fascinating and impactful topics shaping our world. And for our listeners out there, we encourage you to continue exploring these topics, to ask questions, and to engage in the ongoing dialogue about the future we're creating together.